everybody. It is 9 o'clock on a Tuesday, and I may be tired, but I am here to bring you another construction stream. I am tired because we've had a lot of snow this weekend, and I had to go out today to go out to the pharmacy, and I walked. It's like a quarter mile to the pharmacy, and then a quarter mile back. Um, but it was the sidewalks weren't bad, but it was a little bit more effort than usual. And then I did a little bit of shoveling. Um, our neighbors snowblowed uh, our sidewalk yesterday, but it still had like a half inch on it, so I shoveled that off. And then I tried to shovel some of the snow that's blocking in my car, but that's going to take a while. And I guess that's been enough to tire me out for the day. But it doesn't take that much effort for me to sit here and make a puzzle. So I am going to do that. All right. I was thinking about what kind of puzzle I wanted to do, and I decided on, oh, hmm. I had decided on doing a Nurikabe Crossword, but I just realized that March is coming up. I'll put that one off for later. I've committed to doing a Nurikabe Crossword. This is something that I haven't done on stream before, and I'll have to make a template for it because I've always worked this one on graph paper. So, new sheet. So, in a Nurikabe crossword, you start with a square grid. Let's say 13 by 13 for this one. It doesn't have to be a square grid. You have a rectangular grid. Just outline that. And so Nurikabe is a logic puzzle type where you are given a grid with some numbers in it. Like it might be, I don't know, 1, 3, actually 3, 3, 5, 1. And you have numbers throughout, and you're meant to divide the grid into black and white cells. The black cells are sort of the ocean or wall, depending on the interpretation. And the white squares are islands. And each island contains one number, which is the size of that island. So here, you have to have, if you have two numbers right at next to one another, they have to have a black square between them. And so you'd have to have that. But then this would have, the 3 would have to come out like this. Then we have, oops, that and that. Basically, the 3 has got to go like this now, and the 5, well, oh yeah, the other constraint is that the black squares must form one contiguous region, which is why we can't have, say, the 5 can't bend into this gray square. If this were instead part of the 5, then this ocean square to the left of it would be cut off from the rest. And also, every 2 by 2 square in the grid must have at least one white um, space. There's no 2 by 2 that is entirely ocean. And so my crossword variant on it is that the I have number I have numbers sequentially in the grid. Um, and one, two, three, four, whatever. And each of these has a clue associated with it, and the clue's answer gets entered into the island, with the length of the answer being the size of the island. And you go row by row. So maybe if answer one is an island, it might go like ISLAND is a possible way it might go. Um, and um, and also give clues for the rows. So all the white squares have letters in them, but there will be plenty of black squares. And you read the row answers across the rows, skipping the black squares, and you read the island answers in each of the white regions, reading across like this. This can lead to some un unorthodox ways of reading letters, like you might have I S no S L A N D if your island happens to go around this way. The numbered square is not necessarily the place where the answer begins as well, um, which is tricky, but I try to at least give um, the beginnings of that. Because that number doesn't necessarily have to be in the upper left corner of the island. So you have two things going on at once. There's doing the rows versus islands clues to distribute the letters, but also making it satisfy the Nurikabe constraints. It is a difficult format to solve, I will say. But I'm going to do it anyway because I like it. I remember a few years ago, Eric Berlin led Puzzles for Democracy, which was a set of puzzles that was 51 puzzles for the 50 states plus DC by a host of constructors, with proceeds going to some pro-democracy organizations. I don't remember specifically who, but that's, you know, it's, it's an important thing these days. Uh, since I mean, you can be cynical about how long we haven't had a democracy, but at any rate, things have been getting very bad and are getting worse. And um, it was nice to be able to contribute to that project. But anyway, in my contributions to that project, I did two I did two or three puzzles. I think I did three puzzles because after I did the first two, Eric was like, "We still have 10 more states to go. Does anyone want to do another one?" Um, so I wound up with three puzzles, and he organized them in rough order of difficulty. And I had and there were 51 puzzles, and two of my puzzles were like 45 and 50. 51 being a variety cryptic by Mark Halpin. And I was just I had this thing which I often call like treasure islands or something like that. Um, I did one of these for Hawaii, and that was, you know, I won't deny that it wasn't really hard. But I think, you know, I'm gonna deliver a challenge to my solvers. So, I want to maybe do. Hmm, how am I going to represent this? Okay, I need conditional formatting to be able to um, set up the black squares. um, oh, and now that I think of it, I'm definitely going to do some Treasure Island sort of thing. Um, my housemate's partner recently did a made an audiobook of her reading um, Treasure Island to give to her parents, and it was a really neat thing to do. And so now I've thinking of that. So maybe I should have some Treasure Island reference in here, or just like the final answer uh, is a Treasure Island reference. Um, like if I've got 13 by 13, 13 or 14 is probably the right number of islands to fit in here. So I could have something like Long John Silver. That's a pretty obvious one, but um, hmm. Uh, because I usually say, oh, the letters that are under the numbers will spell an answer. So what would I want to spell here? Hmm. What are some other Treasure Island references? Part of me is thinking Muppet Treasure Island, but like Tim Curry is too short. Tim Curry and Miss Piggy is too long. Uh, let's see. Brian Henson was the director. Jim Hawkins is a little bit short. Brian Henson is short too. The answer, I mean. X marks the spot is also a very stereotypical message for this sort of thing. It's the right length. Um, Sorry, I got distracted reading about the plot of Muppet Treasure Island. That's how today's going. Um, so maybe Dead Man's Chest. Um, so let's see, how do I want to do this? Because I kind of want to have something where something's going to go like this in the upper left, but maybe the starting um, the number for the island is actually here, but that might not be the first letter of Dead Man's Chest. Um, hmm. Ooh, excuse me. Dead Man's Chest. So maybe let's use, I don't know, this to be not. And sometimes, uh, let's see. So maybe I start with D here. Let me highlight. Let's put D number to indicate that that's going to be the starting square. And that's going to come out like this. So I've got to have a D as the second letter in the row. So it might be something like I, D, E, A. Want to be careful. I was going to have idealist or something like that, but now I see I have DEA, which, as long as this isn't dead or death, could be fine. But what else is there? Like deal, uh, deacon. There are things, but maybe maybe we have like DUC. AT. Oops. that's... No, I want something where I can at least have... Uh, well, then we'd have the E, E star going here. Dock something. But I want an A. Okay, education is too long. Maybe educate. So maybe it's like... So this is no longer... This is going to be an A, and this is going to be E sharp. So then over here, we're probably going to have the D. So let's see, we're going to need to have... Guess it could be like duct tape. What could this be? I was going to say at ease or A team, but A is not looking good here. Tempo. Actually, let's maybe... Can I have... What starts with EDA? Edamame? But then what? All right. All right, and what I'm doing is I'm getting rid of that and I'm putting data set here. Maybe I change how edamame is shaped and go for like T dot A P. So mat something. Oh, no, I can't have that because now I have a 2 by 2 here. So that means that, all right. Sometimes I'll also say that sometimes I need to give extra clues in like placing. Ooh, that's not good. T A P. Okay, so that means that we now need to have something here. All right, and duct tape is going to have to continue. I have to have something here, and that's going to have to come out here, which means that that's going to have to come out. So duct tape has to go like that. If edamame is like that, then we have to have something here. So we still need the D for I think we'll do it that way and have something where like if it had gone to the left, it would cut this off. D star. So I need to get an M soon, but it doesn't necessarily have to happen here. It could happen the next one down, although with this EP, M is looking not great. I can have more than one entry in a row, but usually because I'm only having some of the letters filled in, it usually makes sense to have it just be one. Um, and I'll have to make sure, like sometimes you have to adjust the placement of these to help get the uniqueness, because it might be that I could have shifted with this current placement of the number. I could have shifted Addies over one and maybe shifted this T over as well. Uh, I, yeah, like for example, the way I have it, I could have T here and dot and then A S E. Sorry, not A S E. That has to stay where it is, but I could have A T E. So, okay, that tells me that I should actually have the thing there. So maybe it's like I was gonna say maimed in order to get an M in here with this being time something. But now we have an issue where we need for something to go here. Oops, here. But we also need something in at least one of these two squares to. So we need this dash here in order to keep this 2 by 2 from being all filled in. We need a 1 here or here because I don't think I'm just going to have Ted as an island. And while I could do like Ted D, then I need to uh, is there a way to rearrange these? Yeah, I can't see sliding Ted or Teddy or whatever over. I don't have enough room to move at ease back if I did. Um, so maybe it's not maimed. Um, hmm. Wonder what there is for this besides magnesium. Anything shorter? Nothing shorter than magnesium, and magnesium is too long. Just because I was thinking if I end it in IUM, I can have tedium here, and that will give me the M I need. But no. And like I could try to have Mei Ming instead, but uh, then I am forced to put like G or NG or something like that as part of this TED, and that's not looking good. Is there anything? There's Maimonides, which is probably too long. Imonide. Yeah, that would. There's not enough room for that, even the way things are. Though maybe. We still wouldn't have enough room for Maimonides. But maybe we shift edamame over. And then we shift duct tape over. Ah, no, we needed the MA to get matted. Oh. What about it? Ew, a mausoleum is probably too long. Yeah, that's too long. You would have USOLEUM. Because Te Deum is a prayer that, or some kind of prayer that is often set to music, I know. Um, so we're back here. All right, so I guess we're not going to have M stuff that's less than like 8 letters is kind of the max we can have here. And it's got to be at least. It's got to be at least 7 letters. Ooh, this is tight. Unless I introduce another word into the mix. Ugh. And the other thing is, because we have this T here, the next letter wants to be a vowel or a letter that can go after T. So let's go with vowel, RHY, star. Marmot isn't going to work because TRM. So if it were Marmite, we'd have like something like tarmac. And then ITE. Nope. I suppose we could also have like. Oh wait, no. I'm duplicating the A. Right. All right. So we'll have to put the M down a row. I don't like that. P star M star. Oop. Not capitals. Septum would potentially give us T. Oh no, we already have the D in that, so that's not where we get the M. Uh, uh, yeah. Well, maybe I just don't. So one solution is don't have numbers until a little bit further down. That is a challenge because if you have an area with no numbers, it's just a lot more difficult to fill. Maybe I'll have this be Teddy, but you actually get this here. Um, so then what is in here? It does look like we're having something like maimed, but it'd have to be one letter longer. And let's put in here vowel Y. Maitre D. Tighter test. Maynard Mayweed. I guess, oh no, here's what we're doing. We are putting this here, and we're putting this here. Okay. So maybe we have something like replay. And then have this coming over. That's fine. We still have room for the ocean to get out over here, and now we have a new ocean over here, which will have to come around and join it eventually. Unfortunately, I wanted to put repent here. Would be great. Well, no, repent wouldn't work. Oh no, RE. Oh, then you'd have PE. Um, hmm. Either this begins eel, EEL something, which means it's like eeling or eelers, which I don't want. Or starts with an H. Or a Y, I suppose. So oh, that's the wrong number of L's for yelled. Mm. It's going to have Ryan Gosling on the left. Uh, oh, but I completely forgot that this also has to have we have to have an N or an S. Well, we could have the N be, oh no, we need an A for, okay. So this is the A in Dead Man's Chest. Boy, I know I need to make this deeper. Um, I'm going to have to rearrange this because we have a 2 by 2 here. Um, how do I do that? Okay. Oh, what if I do? I was thinking maybe I um, slide over this part of edamame one to the left and slide duct tape over, but then there's not room for the R for replay. Uh, okay. Hmm. And I don't have a place to put something in here to get angina. Um, I could have something with tile and then each start a new thing there. Meet something. Or maybe it's tilapia. YEA. But then I don't know what we do with this AN and then the P that's going to come in here for tilapia. Although with this, tilapia would give us the A, and so this doesn't need to be Ryan Gosling. That's E star. And of course, if I have MEAS, it's really going for, boy, this is constrained. something like that. What could go here? We could have something like pure, but the only three-letter. I mean, we either have, if we have impure, it's got to be I dot M dot, and R I Y or R Y I is not looking like a good combination. Um, Purpure is, well, that doesn't make good letters here anyway. So let's go, instead of yeast, we'll go with maybe heads. And so now instead of meadow, now it's really necessitating having two entries going across here because I don't think I'm going to have good luck with IAW or IW if tilapia just keeps going further down. It could just be mead. All right, that's just mead. So now what comes after RH to go in here? What do we have after RH? I don't want to go for rhythm because I've already had problems with Y's. There's Rhapsody, there's Rhino, Rhea, Rhodes, Rhombus. I was going to say Rhapsody would let me put in like Apple, but I need one of these two letters, one of these two spaces to have a letter. Could have Rhine or Rhino. I think it might have to go like this. Oh, nope, that doesn't work. Because, yeah, because we need something here to, avoid having 2 by 2. And then, but that means this needs to be ocean, and we have this, and now this is cut off. Maybe rhubarb. Oh wait, it also needs to have mean, there's no reason that we can't have an island that goes like that. I mean, I kind of want this to be no Kia. I think something like this might be better because we can get this C for chest. But SUT is, what is that? Suture? Sutton? I don't know who's named Sutton. Sutherland. Sutra. Sutra doesn't give me the letters I need for the message. Sutures. Sutcliffe. Star I dot. Nubian, Narnian, nuptial. Okay, that's not working. We could potentially have two things in here like I was going to say naiad, but there's too much space between those. And the problem is, since we have an N here and an N here, that like we're going to have an overlap. Like if we maybe tried to have Narnia here, now we have Narnia here. And so unless it's something that can work there, then I don't. Okay, input is not going to work. Is there anything else that is in P in well, it doesn't have to be an N. Well, N is good because it would give us that. The N we need for Dead Man's Chest. INP star. In pen in part. Can't use in place, or sorry, can't use in play. In place is going to be too long. We can only fit up to 3 letters after that. Mm, okay, we'll have maybe something like sense here, which will give us um, the S we need in this corner. Um, so now if we go back to the ends, could have nutria and nutrient. Uh, no. I mean, the IA is really what's causing the problem here. What if rhinoceros is placed a little bit differently? So that's like IN, and then we maybe have like ink pen. Hmm. Ah. Opiate. Okay. Dead man's. Great. We could potentially have something like rhinoceros going down here. But I do need to make sure that we have room for 5 more entries to get to spell chest. Uh, we could also have O be here, in which case we would need a letter here. This is really the maximum number of white squares we can fit in this one. I was going to say sets up, but that give us a U here is not pleasant. It's not easy to work with. I suppose if it were rhinoceros, could have one more like this. So there's sets up, set sail, set square, sets back, any set phrase. Set screw, sets foot, sets apart. Let's just do that. Sets down. D might be good. So this could be like teeth. So what has AP vowel consonant? Apache. Because the next 2 letters after the PE have to go complete C blank blank ED. So Apache would give us paste, but apathy or case. Oh, no, that doesn't work either. Do any of these work? Uh, well, apart would give us cared. Oh, but I still need to have uh, something in chest, and it's too soon for the T. Um, oh, apricot. Apricot. That works. So CO, maybe something like that. Eco. Hmm. This could be where I have two entries in a single row. Hmm. Okay. Okay, I'll have sets sail. Tie. Then maybe econ. Oh, there's a problem here. Is that I can only have R here. I can't have RT, or I can't have RO, or else I would cut off this path. So then I have T. Oh, maybe it's echo dot. No, that doesn't work. We can't have So now we have maybe teeth. And we just need two more entries to fill out the bottom. It's actually not a ton of room to put two entries down here. But maybe I have something that's like that needs to be connected. If it's teeth, then it goes like that. Okay, so it's not teeth, it's just teeth. I think we need that. So now, let's see. All right. All right, we know we have that. That's got to come out to connect to everything else. So this has to be oof. These kind of have to all be one thing unless we have like a four-letter thing and then a shorter thing. We certainly can. Uh, well, I guess the solution is to add a row. This is like H, and then we have an E somewhere down here because we need one more entry than we've got. And the easiest way to fit another entry in is to extend this. I don't mind doing that. Ooh. Now what's going to be super interesting here is whether I can, how to fit this in. Oh. we need a path to get through here. So therefore, this has to go like that. I guess we could have that. OT is such a difficult beginning. So I could have this be something that comes out like that, and then we have dot, dot, oops, something like that. That is one way to do it. Mm. So this last row is going to be a little, well, no, it's not going to be awkward. Mm. Could potentially have rhinoceros. IT is a little bit better than OT. That necessitates this here. Uh, but this needs an E. God. It would have to be holster. In order to have holster, we need space for everything else to get around. Maybe it's like this. L dot. It's what? Unless there's some way to get mm, like holes. So this is only going to be unique if I can push, if I have TS here. Otherwise, like we could slide ES over, and the L could also be ambiguous. Um, what do we have for RO? What besides royal? Royal. It is also possible that this is just Rhino, but then I have to figure out what else to put in this. Um, this is going to have to start with RI. And so over here it might be a little different. So there's not a lot of this that has room to change. Unless we're like Rommel or Rondel. Rondel might work. If we go back to this being H star, and we have having teeth over here, we can have something like Honda. We do need to be careful about where feel like I must have used Rondel before to get out of a jam. All right. Does that work? No, it doesn't. Because we need to be able to get from here to here. So we would need something like that. But so if E is instead here, then we need, I mean, we could have it dash, dash. No, we can't. Or it's here. Maybe we put that there to give it a little more space in here. Dot. So that's coming out. Okay. I don't like having Ital as an abbreviation here. Suppose I could do something like Italy. But and something like Lysol. but there's not going to be another Saul. Um, UTA dot dot otaku. So then you have KU. What even starts with KU? That's like 5 to 6 letters. Oops. That might have an S in it or a T. Uh, uh, Kudos. So if we had O S dot KU. I mean, otaku is a pretty niche thing to have in here. Maybe it's curds. There. So now we have something like swords or shards. So oops. Esters. Of course, do people who are not in the G otaku, how widely known is this term? 91 million. I guess we could also potentially do like Oh no, I need the S, need the S, need the S. Mila Kunis. Could also do Kush, the empire. Oops. Let's do that. If we do that, then this needs to go. Oops. Last one needs to go like this. To B equals. Now it must be 8 or 6. SARD. No, no, no. SH. ESA. I've also got to hope that it has a T in it. Oh, wait. ESB AB. Right. Esculent and Lucul. No. What is the solution to my dilemma? What were the other KU words? Kudus. Kunis. Sunnis. Actually, Sunnis might be good, because it would give me the un prefix. Oh, well, we'll see. So if I have UN, NI, right, Kunis, and then I have on something and S something. Unsays and essays, that's it. What are these things? Kumasi, is that a city in Ghana? Second largest city in Ghana. Was the seat of the Asante Empire. Oh, but that's giving me MASI at the end of the row. It's not uh, gonna work well. Is there anything else that I can get for HOND? There's Hondo, and I don't know. Other than that, oh, Honduras, but what's Hondo? Western. What was it? Was it John Wayne Western? Was it? John Wayne. Had I had another thought, which is that instead of rhinoceroses, it's rhinoceros horn, and we have something like hornets or horner. Blah, blah. Hornet would be great because of the T to finish off Dead Man's Chest. So let's try. What do we have for this? None of those really. I'm looking at these two letters in the middle and seeing whether they can go before ET. That would be if I had like the other possibility was having Kurds. Uh, ah, uh, the other possibility is having like Hornitos. What is Hornitos again? It's that like a beverage brand, I think. A tequila brand. Also a place in California. Loitos, loitos, matos, titos, whitos, whitos. Nope. So go back to problem is that other than hornet, most other words with horn are related to horn itself. Um, if we had Kurt and the. What if we had. Oh, no. If we had Kurt, we'd need the S to come in somewhere in this bottom entry in this row, and that's not happening. Hmm. So, like, sando is a specific style of sandwich in Japanese cuisine, but I feel like it's also used as slang for a sandwich, in which case I feel like you could have. Okay, because the thing is, if sando were Japanese, then its plural ought to be sando. But maybe I have oops, sandos. Hmm. go back to ES. So it's got to be 4 or 5 letters. Esther and Anther. Okay. And that has the necessary T. All right, so let's see. We've got educate, educate, dataset, matted, maimed, replay, heads, in a pet, opiates, cries, echo and tie, rondelle, otaku, Sandoz, Esther, and then edamame, duct tape, at ease, teddy, tilapia, mead, rhinoceroses, sets sail, apricot, teeth, Honda, kudos, and anther. That's a lot of Japanese stuff. We have edamame and Sandoz and otaku and Honda. So I'm going to duplicate this. So this is Treasure Islands. 202603. I'm actually putting 03 on here because I don't think this will go out until March. Now I want to duplicate this, and we're going to put in star. So we're going to take everything out except for the places where the numbers will go. Okay, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So now, all right, rows. What do we have? We had educate. Well, let's just, all right. So we have educate, data set, matted, maimed, replay. I should have written these down before I deleted all of the numbers. Heads in a pet, opiates. Cries, echo, tie, rondelle. Otaku, Sandoz, Esther. And Then we also have one is duct tape. Two is at ease. Three is edamame. Four is it Teddy? Yeah, Teddy. Five. Mead, tilapia, rhinoceroses. Set sail. Apricot. Honda. 11 was teeth. 12 was kudos. 13 was anther. Alright, let me see how much of this I can uniquely reconstruct and how much I'll need to provide. I don't mind providing a couple of given black squares is what I do if there's not enough information to uniquely determine it, but I'd prefer to not have to. Okay, so if 3 is edamame, we have the E up here, but we need the D of educate to be for duct tape, which means that this needs to be D, A3. And in order to, since we only have one letter before here, that must be E, so we don't have, again, that has to go like that to get out. D1, U, C. Now, let's see. Over here, this needs to be, all right. So ATE goes over here for at ease. We have a T for duct tape. We have the ASE for at ease. The T for Teddy needs to go here, which means that we need that, which means we need that and that and that to get out. All right, so that, since it's at the top, do that, and we can also get ASE. I don't know where the T of data set is going yet. Matted. So the MA is from edamame. The first T is from duct tape. The second T is from tilapia. And so tilapia is 6. So I'm going to, because there's the potential to go like this, but let me just check the other letters. So Maimed is going to be the M from edamame. The A from what? Oh, duct tape. The I from tilapia. The M from mead. The E from mead, and the D from um, okay, I think this has to be, since this is part of tilapia, this has to be the A in tilapia since it's the only thing from heads, which means that in order for this to be connected, it has to go straight down. In a pet. And then IA goes below that. Great. So that's M. We had to have the ME. It's going to go like that. Dot. Oh, this was M5. So the AD of mead is going to come from either these two letters or these two letters. If it's these two, then we have, oops, then we have a 2 by 2. So that can't be. So it has to be mead like that. Dot, dot, dot. Um, um, and now the dy of Teddy has to be either these two or these two, and it can't be the two on the right because that would also create a 2 by 2. All right, good so far. This has to be where the S is. And what's next? That's set sail in a pet. Okay, so I can see that it's going to have to be ETS S. So because this row must have the ET from sets sail. And this must have the S. We can't just have E and TS from this because the T and the S aren't adjacent. And we also can only get the S from cries. So in order to connect them all, it has to go like this. S8, S, dot, 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 dot. And then in order to get the AI, it has to go like that. Dot. And then we have the L somewhere. Lovely. Now I'm still PE. Okay, duct tape, the rest of duct tape has to go straight down. And in order to not leave a chain of empty squares over here, it's got to go like this. And so we have to have MA dot dot. And whichever one of these is the M, the E has to go right under. So if it's ME, then again we have, so ME. Oh yeah, also we need the room to put the R in for replay. Heads, I and 7. A. That must be the A of apricot. Opiates. Now we can't have more of apricots, so that's that. So that means this must be filled in, so it must be the I. Then this must be the TE. Tilapia is entirely filled in, so we have those. This is the only way out from the upper right corner, so that must be filled in. In order for this part to get out, it has to go like this. Cries, so this has to be the E. We need the RI. So this is connected to that, which means that this must be empty. Each 10. What did we have? We had Honda. None of the others are looking good, so HO, TH. 11 has got to be the E, because it's the only letter left, and we know it's there because that's a given. Rondel. So one of these has to be an L. Don't know which. Taku. A. So we need the KU of Otako and Kudos to go somewhere in here. I guess it could go all the way out here. That'd be weird. Is it possible? It'd have to go KUDOS. Then we have dot L. I'm doing this because it's the wrong way to do it, and I want to see if it fails me. All right. S dot ES dot. Then we have A13 THER. Oops, no. T13 HER dot. This was S12. How did I get 7? T, not 7. All right. Now, here we would have to have AN, but now we've cut off part of the grid. All right. Took a while to get there, but we did. So we have to undo back to when I was trying to put things in for Kudos. So we can't have KU be here, because then when we put the L here, it cuts off the ocean. And they have to go consecutive. We can't do something like KU, because that would mess up where the L can go. So the only other way to put the K and the U and the L together is like this. KU. Now this must be able to escape. So we can place Kudos. Dot. Now that has to be filled. that in order to get there. Now, in order to get there, we need to have the A here to not cut it off. So the S must be here. We must have ES dot, and then to get here, we have T13 HER dot. This is unique. I am pleased. Slightly surprised, because I usually go, oh, hey, Liari, I don't know when you showed up. But looks like I just finished making what I'm calling Treasure Islands. I don't know if you need catching up on that. Uh, but I have verified that it is solvable without any additional clues. Granted, solving it from just the clues, you know, you have to be able to get all of the answers, and there's certainly some tricky answers in here. Uh, Rondell, Otaku, Sandos, those are going to be potentially tricky ones. And in a pet, I I keep seeing that as a phrase, and I kind of don't believe it. I suppose maybe I should have checked this up beforehand. Yeah, in a pet. Dated. I'll say. I don't think I have ever seen in a pet used in the wild, and I feel like the person whose puzzles I've most likely seen them in are Patrick Berry's, and I love Patrick Berry, but a lot of his language is like 50 years old. He also has new stuff, but like he often leans on um, both outdated language and names that nobody's going to remember today. All right, out of curiosity, what is the 86 in 13 entries? That's fine. Um, like 86 letters is smaller than a Pathfinder, which is the fewest number of letters in a puzzle that I regularly do. But given the challenges of solving it, I wouldn't want it to be bigger. Anyway, I am done with this, and I'm starting to lose my voice. So I am going to take this opportunity to head off, and although I am going to be taking a break from posting puzzles, I'm probably still going to be streaming. So you can catch me next week. And until then, happy solving.